Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we're going to be taking a look at the CRKT KUK. Now, before we get this First Impressions video started, I just wanted to let you guys know that we do have a Firearm Freedom merchandise store live. The link for that is down in the description, and anything you purchase from that merchandise store greatly supports what I do here on the Firearm Freedom channel. While you're down there, if you enjoy the videos that are coming out here every single month, be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and ring that bell so you're always reminded whenever we post some brand new videos. Guys, I am super excited to bring you this First Impressions video for this badass blade from CRKT. One of the main reasons why I'm excited about this First Impressions video is because this is actually the very first knife review that has ever been featured here on Firearm Freedom. I'm not quite sure why I never got into knife reviews in the past, but it actually works out extremely well because it's a lot easier for me to test things like knives here on the channel while we are going through all of this craziness here in Pennsylvania with everything being locked down, because I can test these knives right here in the backyard and I don't have to go to a range to do it. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this review, and if you do want to see other knives on the channel, definitely let me know down in the comment section and I will see what I can do to get some of those guys out for review. Now, I have been using this CRKT KUK in the backyard to process firewood and baton things and really just throwing it around. I have not tried to sharpen it yet because, quite frankly, the edge was pretty phenomenal out of the box and I really did not dull it up until this point. I've been abusing this knife pretty good and it's shown no signs of extreme wear, of chipping or anything like that. And overall, I will let you guys know right up front, I really am enjoying this kukri style knife. Now, I do have a couple of other CRKT folding knives in the collection and I've always really enjoyed their stuff, but this is actually the very first fixed blade that I've ever gotten from CRKT, and I hear that the biggest value that CRKT offers is in their larger fixed knife options, along with their machetes and different hatchets and everything like that. They really give you a great bang for your buck. This blade can actually be found for a little over $42 on Amazon, which I find absolutely incredible. Full disclosure, as always, guys, I did not get this knife sent to me or any sort of a T&E process. I paid full price for this on Amazon. I saw the other reviews and I just wanted to give it a shot. I was looking for a knife to throw in a bug out bag and also a knife that I could use to chop up some wood in the backyard and clear out some weeds or anything else I needed to do and take hiking as well. And this knife really caught my eye because I always have loved the design of kukri style blades and I love CRKT, so I figured I'd give it a shot and I'm definitely happy that I did. You'll notice that the powder coat finish on the steel itself has started to wear slightly. With the amount of abuse that I have put this knife through over the past couple of weeks, to be honest with you, I thought it was going to wear quite a bit more. So I am enjoying this powder coat finish. I think it's holding up extremely well. I don't have any major cuts all throughout the blade, and I've been doing some batoning with this, really chopping around, and I've had no issues with this finish just immediately wiping off. You guys have to understand that that's after a couple of weeks of use and it's still looking pretty darn good. Now, the steel of the CRKT KUK is going to be 65 MN carbon steel. Now, I'm not a genius when it comes to knife steels, but I can tell you guys that generally a carbon steel is going to be a little bit of a stronger edge. The edge is generally going to keep for a little bit longer, but with that being said, the trade-off there is that carbon steel knives generally are a little bit tougher to sharpen once that edge goes away. So there's trade-offs. I generally actually like carbon steel knives because I feel that they stay sharp for a longer period of time than other steels do, but really with a lot of knife steels, it all comes down to what the purpose of the knife is going to be for you and also what your personal preference is going to be. Now, a lot of people out there say that this is a Chinese steel. I do believe this steel is from China and the knife itself has a lot of Chinese components. So take that for what you will. It is not a US made knife. I can't find anything on CRKT's website that specifically states that this knife is made in China, and on the actual blade itself, it does not say anything about the origin of the knife, whether it's made in the USA or made elsewhere. But I can tell you it says on their website that they source steels from a couple of different countries. So I would imagine China is one of those countries, and it appears that this is a Chinese steel. That's not a huge issue for me, although I would love to buy from an American-made company. I really do like this knife, and I like how it feels. I like the price point, so because of that, I'm willing to buy a Chinese steel knife as long as it performs properly. Now, as far as how the handle feels in my hand, it's extremely comfortable. I have no issues at all with the texturing of this handle. It is a double injection molded handle, and the one thing that I like about this is it has somewhat of a rubbery texture, and I have felt handles on other knives and tools in the past that have that rubbery texture, and it's great, it sticks to your hand, but it almost gets too sticky to where there's a bunch of lint and crap just sticking all over the handle, especially if you're working outside or in the woods. It's getting dirt all gummed up and stuck in there, and those I definitely don't prefer. And I'm happy to say I've had none of those issues with this handle. It sticks well to the hand, but it's not too much to where it's sticking to your gear and getting all over the place and getting nasty in the process. They really did a good job with this. It fits the hand perfectly, and I will be putting some paracord on this as well, just to loop it around my hand a little bit better. You'll notice that there are holes all along the handle to do exactly that. Now, this is a full tang knife, which is always nice. I definitely would prefer a full tang knife for any sort of a heavy use item. Now, there is not really a way, other than me cutting this handle off and seeing what's underneath that, to really tell you guys exactly how full tang this knife is. There's a lot of companies out there, I feel like, that say full tang, but it's not as you would imagine a full tang would be. It's kind of more of a rat tail design or something like that, where you don't have really a true full tang design. So I can't tell you guys with 100% certainty what type of full tang this knife has without cutting it open, and honestly, because I paid full price for this, I really don't want to do that and ruin the knife. So you guys will just have to trust the CRKT website on that regard, and I would definitely agree that it is full tang. You can kind of feel the added weight in the handle, and I would definitely say that that is the case with this knife. The spine of the blade has a really nice thick spot here in the back, and then it does thin up as it gets closer to the top of the blade, and I have no issues with this spine. It's still super rigid, it is not easily flexible, and it feels great overall. Now, obviously, this knife is inspired by a kukri design, but it is not an exact replica of an original kukri by any means. It just kind of replicates that in a way. This knife was designed by Ryan Johnson, so if you do like other knives that Ryan Johnson has designed, obviously you will probably enjoy this as well. Now, the kukri generally is a great blade for clearing paths in the woods through weeds, thick brush, whatever, and I definitely felt that while cutting through some small shrubs in the backyard and weeds, it did that job extremely well. It creates an effect to where the weed actually gets pulled towards the center of the blade as you swing left and right, and it does a really easy job of cutting right through that stuff without any issues at all. I was getting really clean cuts as I was performing those tasks in the backyard, and I really enjoyed it. But I also felt like this knife was very easy to use while processing some firewood. Whether I was batoning through pieces, I actually used a rubber mallet to do that just because I did not have another good stick that I could use for batoning. So the rubber mallet worked great. It allowed me to really put a lot of stress on this knife and see what it could take, and it took a lot. It really chopped through pieces of wood with knots in them and everything like that, and I had no issues there, and it did a great job. I did not think I would have as easy of a job as I did batoning wood and chopping through things, because this really isn't one of those knives that you're going to be using for tasks like that. It's more so, like I said there, clearing paths through rough brush and everything like that. But I was pleasantly surprised at the amount of chopping this was able to accomplish with no issues at all. Now, the only downfall that I had with this knife, and it's really not a fault to the knife because it's really not what it's designed for, is small cutting tasks. So if you're trying to fan out a piece of wood or cut small notches in it, or do very, very minimal tasks with the blade, obviously this ginormous kukri style blade is probably not going to be what you want to use, and I definitely found that that was the case. So you can make small cuts with this knife, but you really got to be careful, and you got to just kind of go extremely slow, and this knife is really just designed for hacking around, and that's exactly what I felt like it excelled in. Now, as far as the sheath, it is a 1680D woven polyester sheath, and it does have an internal piece here that's a little bit of a harder material, so that way it's just easier to put in and out of the sheath. It does have 2 points of securing up here, and I actually really enjoy that. The top part of the sheath opens up, so it's a little bit easier to draw the knife out, and I find that the sheath is okay, but it definitely leaves a little bit to be desired there. As far as all of the other sheath options out there, this is definitely not the worst that I've ever had, but it's not the best. It is very adequate, it gets the job done well, but I'm not sure how well that this is going to hold up over time. So we will see how this sheath does in the full review of the CRKT KUK here on the channel. But overall, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap up this first impressions video and this very first knife review here on the Firearm Freedom channel. I'm excited to do this because it opens up a bunch of other gear reviews of blades and different things that I can do on the channel right here at home and provide you guys some more high quality review content that I'm sure you guys have come to know and love here on the Firearm Freedom channel. As always, guys, if you have any questions about this knife or anything else on the channel, throw your comments down below in the comment section, and I absolutely will get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos to come soon.